My name is Serge Matulic. In December 1946, my parents, Danilo and Josephine Matulic, brought their 4 children to America. For the previous 3 years, they had been living in a refugee camp in Egypt. One of the tents you see here was our home. My father was director of the Postal Motor Pool in Split, the city where I, my sister Irene, and younger brother Milan were born. Here is Danilo, hands in pockets, with his staff and the car he built by hand. When Danilo was promoted, we moved to Serbia. There he had a high executive position in the government of Yugoslavia. The war in Yugoslavia was brutal. Serbia was occupied by German troops. Life was dangerous. Thinking we may be safer in a small village with no strategic value, my parents moved us back to Croatia to the family home in Postira on the island Brač, where my father was born. The situation was no better in Croatia. We were often bombed from the mainland by cannon. One day, planes bombed the village and a bomb landed in our backyard. That was enough for Danilo. We packed what we could carry and left our home. We traveled to Vis, a small island occupied by the British. From there we sailed to Italy by fishing boat, and then were moved from one military camp to another until we arrived in Taranto in the heel of Italy. A convoy of military ships took us and hundreds of other refugees to Alexandria, and from there by freight train to the Sinai Desert east of Suez, where our tent camp El Shat had been set up. We joined 27,000 other Croatian refugees to spend the next 3 years in one of these tents. Daniel, my youngest brother, was born in the refugee camp. When we arrived in Sacramento, we had nothing but the clothes we were wearing. My father went to work as a laborer on construction sites. My first job after school was pulling nails out of old lumber so it could be reused. I earned 25 cents per hour. We all worked hard, and in 3 years my father saved $1,000, with which he bought a 1-acre plot and borrowed enough to build a small house. Here's the family in front of that house. Irene was married and pregnant. Danilo was showing signs of illness. A week after Irene's first child was born, Danilo died, leaving me as head of a family with a debt on the house and no income. I was 17 and a high school sophomore. Milan and I worked after school. Our mother sold eggs, milk and butter to the neighbors. I accelerated my high school education to graduate in 3 years so I could get a full-time job. We survived. Eventually I served in the U.S. Army. Milan joined the Marines for 3 years, and Daniel is a Vietnam War veteran. Irene raised 3 daughters. I earned my degrees with help from the Korean GI Bill. Today the 4 children of Danilo and Josephine are living happily with their spouses, each having raised a family. We are grateful that our parents brought us to America. To honor their name and preserve their legacy, we created the Danilo and Josephine Matulic Charitable Foundation. It is a very small foundation. None of us can contribute a big endowment, but we hope it will grow. To support and promote higher education, the foundation will make its contribution to society by providing scholarships directly to deserving students. The foundation will not make grants to schools. We ask that you help us make Matulic Foundation viable and successful by contributing to its endowment. The foundation is required by law to distribute at least 5% of its endowment each year as scholarship grants. $1 contributed now will result in money distributed every year in perpetuity as part of a scholarship grant. Your donation will never stop working. Thank you.